then we'll pick up where we left off. You were going to go to the Miners Guild. Now that you've had a breakfast, Norallie, you've at least had a short rest. You're dressed back in your pastel frills. Your snake now apparently has wings, and things are afoot. Also, Mordecai, I believe you wanted to pick up a cloak with a hood, which you can easily do because they sell a lot of cold weather or otherwise protective gear, rain slicks, that kind of a thing. So you'll be able to pick up something along those lines. Let's see. Let's pop over to Chapter 5 real quick. Is there something like winter gear? I forget. In other editions, there was like, winter coat or something along those lines. Maybe not in this edition, though, huh?
I don't know. I think it's assumed that it comes with traveler's clothes, but...
I think you're kind of expected to just handle that ad hoc. You can say, okay, you've got one set of traveler's clothes and then another set that's
I believe it's based on region. So where did you pick up the clothes? If you picked up clothes in the northern region, your casual clothes are still lined for dealing with the cold. Whereas if you're in a place that's extremely humid, your standard clothes aren't built like that. So depends entirely where you picked up your clothes.
Okay, well, you're in a place where insulation is it's a part of everyday life here. So I'll tell you what, for you want a nice hood on it too. We'll call it 5 silver pieces, and you can pick up a hooded cloak, Mordecai, of average quality, and if you want to get a fancier or a thicker one or something along those lines, you are welcome to do so. Whoops. Hang on, I gotta get my own camera. I was playing with the settings here, and I have dice spinning over my face on the stream right now. Hang on one second. There we go. All right. The back for everyone else. Daly says there are actually winter clothes. They may be, in the interest of continuing to move things along. If you want 5 silver for it's solid. When I say common, it's not threadbare, or it looks like it was looted off of a beggar that was, died and froze to the streets or anything. But if you want something bigger, more insulated, or fancier, then you can go more expensive from there.
Nah, I can do that myself.
Okay. All right, so on the way... Ooh, that's really good. It's, I combined the last of my strawberry watermelon with half a cap of my Dr. Pepper... Well, technically a Diet Dr. Pepper equivalent. And it tastes pretty good, actually. Anyway.
Like something bright would you like?
Yeah. Bright is... I have bottled Bright.
Bright as a soda.
That's brilliant. Why are you adventuring? Just sell this stuff across the land and just retire fat and happy.
Unfortunately, the flavor only lasts for an hour.
Oh. Well, then go on and invent a really good noodle that you just feel hungry again after an hour, and you'll sell even more because people will eat it, and then they'll just want more of it. Oh, gosh. All right, so heading out, you make a side stop. You pick up a cloak along the way. Let's see. What are your passives, everybody?
Perception?
Yeah, passive perceptions.
13.
13. 11.
12.
10.
Okay. Okay. And other question, what were you doing with Celine? You did manage to get the goo off of her, that's fine. It kind of like dried out overnight, and you could kind of like flake it off, like not flake, but you can kind of like chunk it off of her as it cracked into these sort of like blue boogers that have dried out. But what were you doing with her before you set out?
I would definitely want to hang on to some of the blue boogers, because those could be magically interesting, and I'll want to investigate those when I have time. But right now, I don't know. I feel like we should bring her with us. Is she still incapacitated? Is she still...
She is conscious. She can speak. Though she seemingly feels kind of ill. Like she feels very tired. She feels kind of quaky. So she can stand up. She's not gonna just fall over, but she doesn't feel the best. Probably, I don't know, mechanically give her a couple levels of exhaustion for how tired and down she is.
I want to protect and take care of Celine, but I don't know how, because we left Tazrae and Boxy behind so it would be safe, and they died. And then we brought Lake up with us, and also she died. So, I don't know which is safer.
You guys don't really have a good track record.
Well, I'm still alive, and Jade is still alive, and you're still alive, Norallie.
Wait a minute. Who's not on that list? Celine, in her confidence of her abilities, will tell you that she can take care of herself. You don't have to believe her, but that's what she'll tell you. At worst, she'll just hang out in the public area downstairs. She doesn't have to isolate herself. But actually, you know what? She could probably go for a good dip in the hot springs.
I bet the hot springs would make you feel lots better. So, okay, you can stay behind in the hot springs, but let's see, let's check the time. Stay behind in the hot springs. You can catch up with us later if you start to feel better.
Okay, yeah, she knows where you're going.
Okay, let's do that.
We're not leaving town without her.
All right.
Not on purpose.
Right, not on purpose. Leaving that open for a magical phenomena. That is very clear. The things that Bright says are as important as the things that she specifically doesn't say. All right, so Celine is going to go and try and soak her old bones and feel better, and you're heading out. Mordecai, you get a nice cloak, and you find yourself trudging through the streets that are not as snowy. I mean, there's still snow around. They don't have plows or anything working. There's people shoveling. But you spend some time, make your way there, and the mining guild is a very large, not necessarily opulent, but is a very large, very functional, very solid building, which you don't even need stone cutting to know that while dwarves in Mesomasca, or Mesotopia even for that region, aren't too common, the mining guild here was certainly built using their techniques, if not their hands, oh so long ago. You get this nice kind of an Art Deco, very chiseled yet featureless statues showing powerful people in various figures. Some very straight lines and curves that are carved in. So it just has this presence that appears strong, but again, it's not like they have gold inlay into their marble floors or whatnot. There's a lot of activity off on the side. There's carts coming and going, people milling about. This is really almost its own part of town. And you can see wagons similar to the one that you rode in on that are coming and going, and they'll have sacks of gravel and cut stone and so on and so forth. Walking in, there's people bustling about, and there is a man behind, a human behind the desk, who is handling things similar, Mordecai, to what you saw the sheriff do. Again, this is a busy place. People are filling out forms, and especially at this 24-hour operation. So you're going to have to wait a little bit, but you can queue up, and your turn will come after about 20 minutes or so.
A lot of waiting. I don't want to wait 20 minutes. The more time we wait, the harder it'll be for us to find
You'll have to speak a little bit more closely to your mic. I can't hear you.
Sorry, I was just saying that we could trust that the sheriff is going to inform the guild that they need to close down, make sure that those fake creatures don't get out.
Well, we've come all this way, and I'm just hoping maybe we can.
That dragon thing.
Let's try to overhear what the other people are talking about, so we can decide if we can get in ahead of them.
Okay.
If only someone had invented a cantrip where we could listen in on other people's conversations.
Right? Oh my gosh, that'd be convenient. Maybe you can do a little magical research and we can invent that cantrip here in the world. Fortunately, though, the conversation, what's happening is fairly cut and dry. There's a couple people ahead of you that are applying for something about a job, maybe a promotion or to do something different. There's a wife of someone who's asking for a claim form for injury. And then it comes up to your turn, and the person, beckons you up. Come along now. What do you need?
I'll let Mordecai do the talking. He can see over the desk.
We need to speak with the guildmaster.
Why?
Because there are some pretty gnarly things in your mine, and we need to talk to him about closing the mine down permanently.
It's a known issue.
Okay. As in, it's going to get shut down.
Maybe. Look, the mine had an avalanche occur yesterday.
Yes.
Our guild's on top of it, restoring service as necessary. Did you have any particular business? Did you need to purchase something?
No, we're here to inform that we were part of the rescue team that went in to try and determine that that there were people to save. There were indeed none. And we need to talk to the guildmaster.
Well, he's a bit busy for people bringing redundant reports. Here, I'll tell you what. Fill out these forms, and I can assure you they'll be processed. From what I understand, we have had communication with families that have lost people. The sheriff and his deputies had, the deputies and more in particular had stopped out even earlier. And I assure you that mine is under our purview as the Miners Guild. We're doing everything that we can, and all due safety concerns are going to be taken into consideration. So here, and he'll hand you like several pieces of paper. You can find an ink station if you just scoot from where you are in front of me down the counter to where you see the other people filling out forms. You can just...
You mistake my politeness as a lack of urgency. This is an urgent matter in which we need to make sure that mine is closed down because there are fey creatures inside that cannot come onto this plane.
What?
Fey creatures.
What?
Dangerous fey creatures.
Okay, write that on the form, whatever. Look, I'm sorry. I have tiefling friends, but I don't speak your language. I don't know infernal what fey means.
Fey creatures, as in from the Fey Wild.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I'll make sure that this is noted. And
When I say Fey Wild, do people think I'm crazy? Do I get that sense?
you're talking to a secretary in a mining guild about the Feywild.
I get that sense. Fine.
Mr. Miner Man, I know that you don't really think that this is important, but I'm going to have to ask you to trust me when I say that this is really important and we really need to talk to the guildmaster. So I'm going to have to insist. I'm sorry. Didn't throw either. You're going to roll a 9.
Okay, so Bright goes up to this and has foreseen in her morning magical preparations that he is going to roll a 9 on this save versus suggestion. He looks down at you.
Thing isn't saving.
Dream I've ever had. It was even more boring than when I just dreamed of gray fog last time.
All right, so he looks down at you, kind of blinks a couple times, and can you state one more time what you wanted, what his suggestion was?
To the guildmaster right away.
Okay. He looks down at you. He looks at the rest of you. Looks at some other people that are kind of milling about, and he looks off to the side. Hey, can you cover me? Yeah, I got it. I know. Like he's talking to someone kind of like in the back. Just come up here. Yes. All right. I have someone coming to replace me. Get your things together. We don't have a lot of time.
That's fine. We already have our things together.
Do you have your forms?
I am
Interested
filling
in
them up
forms.
right now.
Okay, maybe he's interested in forms. This is not an issue that's about forms. This is an issue that's about saving people.
Saving this whole plane.
Okay, if you don't have the forms, I'll take you to him.
Filling out the
I'm
forms.
warning you. Mordecai's just something. Get a little black streak on your tongue from licking the pen and getting the ink to flow through, and that's right. Plunder loot forms in triplicate.
Pen of yours isn't very good. I always bring my own pen.
All right, so you're doing that, and he says, "All right, you got it. Come on, you got to have your forms." And
Is making the forms.
and he
I'm confident that the guildmaster will listen to us even without forms, if that's what it takes.
you walk through. He looks down to you, Bright. Are you good with stairs?
I mean, people stare at me a lot, so yeah, I'm used to it.
He stops and blinks for a second. Never mind. Come on. And he starts taking like a big, not really spiral. Well, it's like a stair, but it's a winding staircase going up. And he takes you to the top, 5 floors up. And if any of you have a low constitution, 8 or 10, you're probably winded by the time that you're getting up there. Now, dwarves did build the place, so, the stairs aren't, like a foot high a piece, but there's a lot of them. So you get to the top, and it takes you down a hallway, and knocks a couple times, waits, and no one says anything, but then he opens the door. And you walk into what appears to be a one-room geological museum. There are all kinds of rock slabs. Some are raw, some are polished, that are lining the walls. You are finding different rocks that are kept in glass cases, various metals, various gemstones, and they are all throughout this office. There is a desk at the back of the office by a big set of windows that actually overlooks the same mountain and kind of ish the same mine entrance that you went into, but there's probably more than just one mine here in Browbeat. But it does look out over the mountain that is providing the bounty for the mining guild, and there is a man in a very comfortable looking chair. Not the big evil exec CEO with the cigar and the padded leather, but it's big, it's comfy, it's still practical, but it does also emphasize his station. And carved into it are also more of those sort of Art Deco figures that are holding up a representation of the mountain with like very strong shoulders and backs that are sort of forming the back of his chair. And
Does any of the construction in here resemble the construction that we saw in the mine, like in the once we were in there deep, like especially at the pillars?
no, any of the pillars. There are pillars here. They're not constructed the same, and you're not seeing any of those, any of this strange language or symbols upon them.
Thank you.
He turns around from looking out the window, over to you all, and looks at you all, makes a simple hand motion. As he also, he stands up, but he doesn't stand completely straight up. His back does seem bent, like he has some sort of a hunch, not just a clue, but he has a hunch in his back. And as he beckons you forward, you can see that his hand is straightening out about to this point. Like, that's about as straight as apparently his hand is when he beckons you over. Come in. Come in. And you walk through this museum. Gleaming gems and all sorts of other things are on display, including some items that are made of the different minerals and have gems embedded and made of precious, etc. and so forth. So, you're finding some daggers and some other things that are knickknacks and paddywhacks. You come up to his desk. Yes, you have some business, and he holds out his crooked hand to you, Mordecai. Do you have your forms?
Yes.
Thank you. And he sets them on his desk. Now, what are you here for?
Well,
He doesn't even look at him.
we are here to let you know that as part of the rescue team that went in to try and save some of the members of Browbeat, and sadly to no success, it seems that there's more going on in that mine than anyone originally thought.
Yeah.
As in creatures from the Feywild coming into our plane.
He's looking you over, Mordecai. Yeah, you meet the description, all of you. Well, except that one. Points to Norallie. That
One of the, well,
we're volunteers.
one subscriber.
She was inside.
Her along the way.
Yes.
How'd you get in there, girl?
Magic flowers?
What?
She was apparently kidnapped in Flowerfield and brought to that location.
I guess magic flowers is the most accurate and baffling response. Ugh. Magic. Useful. Does a lot of things, but I'll tell you what. Magic has a way to work on the world. Anyway, you're not here for that. You are here because for some reason you convinced one of my secretaries to bring you. And you're here to tell me that as a survivor of the volunteers, I need to shut down that mine.
Yes. Because there are dangerous creatures inside that should not get out.
I see.
We don't really think you just need to shut it down. I think it needs to be destroyed. And I know that's bad for business. But it's also bad for business if creatures attack and conquer the whole town.
As in, it should be collapsed. No entry, ever.
I understand your concerns in the right place. And I understand that there's a lot of magic going on. I would appreciate it, though, if you think that, or if you'd give me the common courtesy that I'm a man who knows how to do my job. Do you know why I'm hunched like this? Do you know why I look the way... He straightens his finger. Do you know why I look like the way I do?
You don't,
You
but I
didn't
bet
do
you'd like to
enough
tell
yoga.
us. And we would be happy to hear your story if you want to tell us.
I've put my work into the earth, into the land. And I'm here because I did a damn good job of it.
Of course.
Now, having passionate pups like you who know how to stand up straight because you ain't never worked a hard day in your life, barging into my office telling me my business, You can imagine that's a little insulting, huh?
Well, sure, we would never tell you how to mine, but
No.
we do know a little bit about evil extraplanar creatures, which is not the usual thing that you dig out of a mine. And that's what's living in that mine now.
He leans over,
Of gold and iron, we wouldn't say a word to you.
and you hear a drawer open, and he grabs something. Stack of papers. I understand that there's magic at the entrance of the mine. And in fact, I even have a detailed account that it looks like a big sparkly cloud. And we have people who are trying to work on that issue. I can assure you, no one's going into that mine given whatever that thing is that's clogging up the entrance. As for destroying it, we're going to determine that with some time and some patience. And that's what the Earth deserves. If we can dispel whatever that thing is, you know, the guild will hire mages to do so. But we got to examine it first before we just destroy anything. There's a lot of people whose lives live upon the function of that mine and several others in the same mountain that you're talking about collapsing.
And we wouldn't dare tell you that's shutting off one of the primary sources of people's work and income in this town be shut off completely without good reason. So,
Let me, Mr. Guildmaster, how long do you suppose it's going to take you to make those determinations?
Well, however long it takes to get the reports back from the surveyors. We have people who are working on it. It's only been a day.
No, I know. I don't want to rush you. I think, would you be convinced if we brought you more evidence?
I have a stack of evidence. You see it right here?
Well, I like papers and books and documents probably more than most people, but I know that even the best book isn't as convincing as, for instance, a magic crystal that we might have brought with us.
we did see a lot of crystallized people down there, all dead.
Crystal people, huh?
Well, people encased in crystals, I can only assume they're dead.
Terrible end, it sounds like.
Missing people from town.
It starts as an infestation, a touch, and then it grows out the pores, crawls up the leg like some sickly disease, and then it takes the whole of the body. You scream, and then you're left screaming, paused forever, until something comes. Something that looks at you as you look at a shovel or a pick and decides, this is the one I'm going to wield. It burrows into you in every pore, and you realize that your muscles are no longer your own. They're a pick. Your voice is your own, and the words are not. You realize that you are nothing more than the vessel to a mind whose bodies are countless, and it leaves you broken and gone. You're not dead. You're erased. The dead you can do something about, but I can almost assure you that many of your surveyors will fall to the same plight and perhaps even come back, something new in the eye, and say everything's fine. Invite more workers, and more will come, and the disease will spread and take and eat until nothing left, all out of pride.
They did say that they were intending to do such a thing.
Look, ma'am, sir, it's not that I don't believe you. I may very well believe you. There's a process that needs to be done. We need to see exactly what is happening. If you filled out your forms and you turned them in, it's not that we don't consider it. We have to consider a lot of different things. I'm happy that you, in fact, he'll even go down. He gets the stack of papers up again, and he, with his crooked hand, kind of shuffles through a couple of them. Yeah. Here. So, for the volunteers, you all match this to it. There's not a sketch, but there's, you. Except for you, girl. You're not on there. But I'll tell you, I appreciate you waking up, and you had no intention of getting involved in something like this here in Browbeat. It's hard work. And you come bringing information. I appreciate it. I understand. I can seem like a gruff person. And I'll tell you, ma'am, your name, Jade? Yes?
Close enough.
Okay. Well, Jade, as a man who already has half my body effectively frozen up, I can sympathize if people down there are getting the other half of them put to task. Be patient. Give it time. I'm not sending anyone else out there to work. We got a procedure. We got a method. I can assure you, as the head of the Miners Guild, I'm not just going to sacrifice people to send them digging into dirt. We have pride in what we do. And we take expenses to protect them.
I kick Mordecai in the ankle.
Ow!
Mr. Guildmaster, we know you're a good person, and I'm glad to hear that you care about the safety of your miners, because that's all that we care about too. So it sounds to me like you're not a hothead, and I appreciate that. And it sounds to me like you're not careless or reckless, and you're basically just a decent man, and I'm really glad to hear that. So it sounds like you're not going to do anything rash, and you're just going to take your time, and you're going to gather all the evidence you can before you make any decisions that you can't.
Aye.
Were you planning to look in the mine yourself?
I'll make my way up there. I won't be one of the first ones, as magic is beyond my ken, little gnome. But I'm going to be there. I'm the leader of this place, and I've put in many, many days and nights in that mine. Before I allow anyone to go back in there, I will give it a tour myself. That's how we do things around here.
I'm glad to hear that. Okay, so it sounds like the mine is going to be closed for at least a few days then.
I couldn't tell you. It'll happen when it happens. All good things in time, little lass.
Okay. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm actually pretty satisfied here. What do you think?
All right.
You have to understand,
I just came along.
not only is there methodology, but look. And he points out the window. And he kind of straightens out his finger again for you all. When I die, I'm going to be buried in there. I'm going to be buried with all the other men and women who've been buried in that mountain. Those who passed away and chose, and those who didn't choose to do so. It's going to be an honor to do that. I'm in no rush to have that happen, but I'm going to keep that mountain going, and I'm going to be there, even in my waning hours, or in my afterlife, if it means supporting them and letting them know that I've put in the work and I recognize the work that they put in themselves.
Well, we just want to make sure that it doesn't happen any sooner than it has to.
And that no more people get hurt.
Did you say your name was?
He gives you your question goes through, and he gives a as he squints one eye, and he's looking at all of you who are here. My name is Tucker. That's all you need to call me by. You're not a member of the guild. You can call me Tucker.
That's what we'll call you. It's just, that my people really like our names, and so we just don't feel like we've really met someone until we've said their name. So my name is Bright, and then this is Mordecai, and Jade you already know, and then this is Norallie, and I want us all to be on good terms.
Jade.
Oh, this is Yori.
Yori, huh? What an interesting name. Mordecai, Bright. And he goes back to you. Jade, is that a given name, or did you choose that because it represents who you are? And he's giving you a discerning eye.
Jade stops and reminisces for a moment. She ends up looking at him. It's...
We'll get some different music playing here. Okay, there we go. You're still in the office. I'm just switching things up. Go ahead.
It's in reference to still waters. You say in light, it becomes as still as a large slice of jade.
Do you feel that you really are Jade?
It's like something ticks in her brain for a second, like something, an impulse or something just takes over for a moment. I have to be whoever I need to be, whatever's the right piece to fit. That's what I have to be. Jade can be carved, jade can be crafted, it can be shifted and made into a creation fitting purpose. So should I.
Jade is also a beautiful gem.
Worthless otherwise.
She's correct, young man. Jade itself isn't extremely precious, monetarily, though it can make some very exquisite-looking things. It always fascinates me when I meet others who are named after minerals or rocks. Call it a professional curiosity. Your reason, though, Jade... I haven't heard a reason like that before. It's not because it's sparkly or that it's bright. No offense to you, ma'am. It's a nice enough name. But some people just look at something and they think it looks good. They don't understand what something is and what it's not, or are even willing to accept the fact that to some people it might not be all that precious.
But isn't that everything?
Maybe. But I'm an old man who knows
Something
rocks.
can look beautiful and be worthless.
Then it is worth because it is beautiful.
Exactly.
Then it contradicts your statement, Mordecai. I think that's the point the gentleman Tucker is getting at.
Life is contradictory.
Tucker.
Careful, you don't want Mordecai to vanish in a puff of logic smoke.
There is an understanding. The appropriate movements must be made. Everything in its time as it must be. You said the paperwork needs to be filed and sent appropriately. That appropriate measures will be taken by those far more qualified than those in this room. Yes, Tucker?
Yeah, there's a process to it all. To paper, to rocks, to planning, everything. It's all going somewhere, even if you can't see the grand vision.
Then we'll have to settle with that.
He sits back down, and his chair kind of oofs and creaks, kind of like mine. And he looks at you all. I appreciate what you did. I'll tell you what, out of my own personal gratitude, especially for making the way here, and you went through the effort of at least trying to fill out the forms. Although, young man, your handwriting is too much for an old man like me. Ugh.
The doctor once.
A doctor?
No. Never a doctor.
I'm
A
sorry.
tinkerer, maybe.
I have really pretty writing. I should have filled out the forms. I was just in too much of a hurry. Right away.
Would that also increase its value?
Was that to him or was that to
Sometimes my
Bright?
writing-
To Brian.
Okay.
No, my writing is pretty enough that people would pay me just to do it. That was kind of how I made money when I was a gnome. I mean, I'm still a gnome, but when I was just a gnome and not doing all this. So, that was.
Before you went mad.
I didn't go mad, even though sometimes it might seem that way. No, I mean, I guess I went a little mad, but only in places. I'm only mad in one corner.
I have the handwriting of an engineer.
Look, I'll show you my little book. Look how pretty it is. Show you maybe the first page of my spell book.
Jade takes it in real quick and trying to take in every detail, looking it over, looking at the finery, this writing that seems more art than it is penmanship, and looking at the scrolls and how each letter is perfectly spaced, a slight eccentricity put to every letter, a flourish upon every sentence. With a bit of curiosity, they'll wonder, is she reading the spell or is she doing something else? Who's to know? Who's to know?
It's a little bit of both. That's why it's my spell. It's a spell and it's just magic, but it also tells you about me. It's really neat of you to notice those little letters. Most people just look right by it. I mean, their brains notice, but they don't. You know, does that make sense?
I think so. My book's not so pretty.
Oh, that says something about you. But maybe I'll let you copy some of my writing, and we'll see what it looks like when you do it.
And it wouldn't be mine.
It would be both of ours. I put my book away. We can do that later.
As you're having this conversation, that the old man has been watching here. As delightful as that exchange has been, I'm gonna give you something and you can get going. I'm a man who has a lot more to do. I know it may not look like it, but I promise you, I just don't sit here and look out the window.
As to be.
And he is going to put a very fine, small, like a leather bag, like a pouch or something, on the desk. Don't insult me by counting it in front of me. I'm giving you a little bit of extra payment on the side for doing what you did. And in addition, here, for you, and he takes a chunk of white translucent rock, bright, and puts it on the desk and just sort of, he pushes it over to you. There you go. It's called quartz. Looks bright and shiny. I'll tell you though, it's near worthless. At least for people who use magic. Now, Jade, I'm going to give you another worthless gift too. And in fact, and he hands you a piece of jade that's still like raw in the rock that you'd have to like extract. So he gives you a chunk of just like sedimentary rock that has jade in it as well. There's a worthless gift for you as well. And I can't forget you. He takes just a stone and he puts it in front of you, Mordecai. I think that somehow this stone reflects you. Now, there's no reflective surface on the stone. But he gives you a stone all the same. It's probably about the size of, if you ball up your fist, like a fist and a half, or like if you wrap your other hand around your fist. There's a rock for you, too. Probably worthless. And for you, lady, I don't know you. Apparently you were lost inside the mines. I'm sure I got something here for you. Here. I'm sorry. It's probably insulting, but, you're the color purple, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so. He kind of sorts around. You hear some stuff. He pulls out a couple different...
He's lavender.
He's holding up a couple different gems. Here. I'm sorry to insult you, but here's a rock. It's purple violet, just like you are. On the market, you might be able to get 50 gold for it if you're lucky. I'm sorry to insult you with a gift that actually carries value. Here. And he hands it over to you. For the rest of you, why don't you go find something valuable, actually? You make that worth something. You don't need to show it to me. I'm not your school teacher. But do something with it, huh? Make it worth something.
Some of the most thoughtful gifts I've ever gotten. Thank you very much, Mr. Tucker.
Well. You know, I may look old and grizzled, and I kind of am. I'm not as old and grizzled as I could be, but I've put in my fair share. And I'll tell you, when you're down in there, you're working hard, and you find value in the little things with the people who are around you, it can make you appreciate even the backbreaking labor that being a miner involves.
You remind me of the old soldier avalanche.
Old soldier. I know the avalanches. Are you talking about Jeroff?
It's the name he gave. It was the one useful to him at the time.
I'm familiar with him. Heck, he might as well have been where I was when I was your age in front of me.
We were the ones to bring him home before he had to be buried, to see his next generation come to Earth. Spent some time with the old man, even when he was at sea.
And I understand that one of his boys is the one that's been lost in the mines.
And we couldn't retrieve him, much to our own dismay. And now I'm going to have to deliver that news.
You won't have to do it now, Jade.
Well, if you have solid news, it's more than what the miners knew about his fate. Of course, we'll wait for an official report, but I'm not going to stop you and go and talking to Giraffe and the Avalanches. Those people have been working the mountains for, well, since Browbeat was started. They're an old established family. Has a good reputation. You do well to ingratiate yourself with them.
Fortunately, most of the people that were in the mine, I don't think any of them survived.
It's a shame. And we'll see if that's the case. I don't disbelieve you, but I can wish for diamonds in one hand and, well, I can do something else in the other, and we'll see which one fills up faster.
I'd suggest spit.
It rhymes with it, Jade. It rhymes with it. Do you need anything else? I gave you some worthless gifts and some time and advice. That's more than what a lot of other people get.
I'm really happy. I really appreciate it. Why don't I give you a worthless gift too?
Please.
Mind?
I could buy whatever I want, but I can't acquire the things that have no value.
This is a bag it's almost like a mountain, but it's a mountain that's been mined and worn down so much that there's nothing left. And this is all that's left of the mine done. And I know that you're starting to feel a little bit old, and I just want to give you this to remind you that you'll have to stop and enjoy your last days before this is all that's left. And I give him my little bag of sand.
A bag of sand. Oh, my dear little gnome, this is probably one of the most worthless gifts I've ever had the honor to receive. And he says that with a big old smile on it. Like when he smiles, like his rough skin, like he just gets like wrinkle, like all up his cheeks, and his brow kind of furrows up. Thank you. That means a lot to me.
You're welcome. So I think it's time for us to go and let you get back to your work, and we have important things to do too. So thank you very much for the gifts, and I hope we meet again, and I hope we meet again under better circumstances.
We all have people, places, and jobs to return to, and I'm sure you have yours. Now get going. I gotta get other things done.
I'm the first to leave.
And he waves kind of a crooked hand your way, and then he'll stop and he'll kind of straighten up his fingers. You hear like a couple pops as his knuckles and whatnot kind of straighten out, and stiff jointedly he attempts to wave in your direction before you just hear him plop back down in his chair and stares at that bag of sand that you gave him.
Okay, let's get out of here. Mordecai, I have something else. I didn't think of this. I don't know why I didn't think of it until just now, but I want to see if you show up in this mirror. Look in this mirror and see if you have a reflection.
Do I have a reflection?
Yes, you do.
Fair play.
Okay. Yeah, gotta put the mirror away.
Oh, this is not a real vampire then.
An interesting... interesting data point. We'll figure out how Mordecai works at some point.
I'm still figuring this out. All this out by my own self too.
Okay. So
I appreciate any thoughts you have in regards to the matter, Bright.
I'm really confused.
As am I.
But I have a nice shiny chunk of quartz, so I'm pretty happy.
I got a rock.
A silly old miner doesn't know anything about magic. You can use a chunk of quartz to summon a wall of ice.
That's fair. I gave you exactly what you needed.
I don't know that spell. It's a really hard spell.
Well, when you'll have a component for it for when you need it.
Okay.
So it'll come in handy later. It'll become useful and not worthless.
So did we want to go into the sheriff's, or do we want to talk about stopping the game for tonight?
I don't think we need to talk to the sheriff. I already filled out paperwork for them.
It's not paperwork in this time.
I know. And a lot of people in Browbeat seem to be incredibly open about their assumptions about people.
They are rather straightforward about things, even if they're not correct.
Strange people, Browbeat people.
All right, so you want to go back to the tumbled wench, make sure that Celine, didn't die, and okay.
So out of character. I mean, it is quarter to 3.
Okay.
Usually we're talking about stopping right around now, but also it's usually because of lethality, and he's not.
Yeah.
He's not here today, so.
That,
but I don't know how everybody else feels.
This is up to you. I don't mind going. I don't mind going a little bit longer. I think his group was still intending on playing even without him because he was under the weather. If you have other plans or need to go to sleep, and we've been sticking to 3, I'm fine with that. If you want to play a little bit longer, maybe you'll go till 3:30, or I don't know about too much past 3:30. But if you want to go past that, that's fine as well. What would you as a group like to do? I'm fine with either decision.
I think we're good here. I need to go to bed.
Okay.
I'm good with whatever the group wants.
Jade? Wrap up or continue?
I guess we'll wrap it up here.
Okay. Then, Bright, would you like to...
I mean, I just wanted to find out. So
Yeah.
I mean, in world we still need to hopefully go track down Boxy, but
Yep.
but as far as game wise, yeah, we can stop. That's fine.
Okay, then I will let me get you, since we have 15 till, well, I guess 14 now until 3. Let me get you back and get us to a stop point, and we can go from there if you need to leave or if you want to stick around and table talk, as we're waiting for a heads up from the Gathering of Nerds. That'd be that'd be fine to do. All right, so you are heading back, and without talking to Lethality or having him be here, there's other thing, like he's going to be sore, he's going to be soaking. Well, she, in this case, is Celine. She's still alive, and any details or anything that has happened on its own, maybe I could do some on the side RP with her in that channel and go over some things. But when you do return, she will be conscious. Norallie, I mean, you're still going to be sore. Unless you're wanting to go out on your own. It does seem like it's a big, dangerous world. These people have met your brother. You can resolve to stick around with them. Otherwise, I mean, they're paying for your room if nothing else. If you need to do any shopping or anything else on the side, you're welcome to do so. Though, as Bright brought up, you are, well, there is still the business of visiting the Avalanches and letting them know what happened, unless you want the Miners Guild to do it themselves and or the sheriff or deputies. After what's going on, you could...
I'll do it.
Mordecai's...
We have to do that.
Okay. I imagine Jade would want to go out too and... Right? Talk to the old man about this? Okay. Alright, so we'll do this. We'll have you visit. I mean, Celine, you could check in with her. She's still alive. She's probably, telling you, oh, I'm so hungry. I've been kind of knocked out. And, she looks at you like, not like that. Meh. The fairies aren't, or the pixies are dumb. Don't listen to them. And so she's eating and resting. We'll take you over to the Avalanches, and then we'll conclude here. We'll have you say the words or convey things, and then we'll end with the news being delivered to the Avalanche family, or particularly Geralt here, or Jeroff.
I think the tavern was explained and rested, because I don't know this weekend.
Oh, yeah, all right, so Norallie, you want to stay behind in the tumbled wench?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You can get to know Celine. She's it would be good for you to get to know her. I don't know what to say to describe her. But since you were both unconscious most of the way out, maybe you got to know each other while you were both knocked out. I don't know.
Yeah, you had some unconscious...
I would also like to count the gold.
Okay. Sure. You at least waited until you were out of eyesight of him, and he has given you... One moment here. D20. So far, you're up to 66 gold. You are up to 72 gold. You are up to 76 gold. $77, and all right. You have counted 78 gold inside the very fine, like, suede belt pouch. The belt pouch itself, if you wanted to fence it, could probably eke out another couple gold, because it's really, really good stuff. Like a nice little, like, velvet tie and very smooth suede to the bag. But there are 77 gold inside the pouch.
Was that just his personal source? Were we supposed to get paid for anything else?
He just gave you money. You volunteered to go in. I mean, maybe if you want to to pursue it, but they were in the emergency. You went up there, said we want to help. They gave you equipment, and
Okay.
Well, okay. Well, we can talk about how to divide it up later. Good to know that we have 78 gold.
Rory should get some too. He needs a little sweater.
This is why I wanted to wait on dividing up the gold. Okay, let's deliver the bad news. I always hate delivering bad news, but I've kind of gotten used to it.
all right. So you are on your way to the nicer, if not older, like family estate section of Browbeat, and much like you see here, mountains in the distance, big houses that hold a couple generations of families apiece. And as you're crossing the bridge that's going over the nice, very cold, pure mountain water, which, I mean, you had that kind of like, ooh, that shiver up your spine because you're just surrounded by cold, pure mountain water. And, when you cross the bridge, give me 1 second. I'm loading content right now. As something happens.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Next game.
Dun, da, da, da. Once I can find it. Sorry, hang on. It was sent to me in a message, and I gotta find it here. Okay, so that was that one, and now, through a mysterious benefactor / fickle god, we have. I shifted pages in Discord, and I think it lost where I was at. This is very anticlimactic. Everyone, something happens. Hang on, I gotta find it. All right, here we go. All right, now, you are not unconscious for this. You don't fall over. You don't fall face first into the ice-cold mountain stream. But for a moment, as you're crossing this bridge, and you have this stream, and in fact, you probably even see someone who was hunting and is bringing some meat back for their family. You each find yourself individually. You don't see each other. You each find yourself by a wide forest river, not just a mountain stream going through some scrubland here. The water is clear and running smoothly. You spot a deer upstream who crosses the river, showing you that it's shallow there. You then go there and cross the river, following. But when you reach the middle, you see that the deer has turned, and it's crossing back in a hurry even. An arrow shoots out of the forest and strikes the deer, who falls into the water. Blood runs from the slain beast and begins flowing downstream, turning the entire river to blood around you. The blood rises, but you can't move. You're stuck in the middle of this river where it was shallow, but it's getting deeper and deeper. The cold, pure mountain water is now blood, a river of blood. And it's getting higher. Chest, neck, chin, as you try and breathe and you can't move. And right when your mouth and nose are covered, this moment is over. And you all kind of, you blink it off or you wobble a little bit. Whatever's appropriate for your character, you can roleplay it. But you come to, and you find that you are still crossing the bridge on the way to the avalanche home.
You all right?
Did you ever have that sudden feeling like as if you were drowning.
Occasionally.
Your blood is now seasoned.
What?
Jay just continues walking.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know. I'm used to seeing things like this, so sometimes I'm not sure, like, if everybody else saw it too, but... And
I'm
Jade's
not.
kind of used to drowning, so I don't know if maybe that's the same thing for you too, but it was kind of a weird... Like, there was a deer and there was blood everywhere. Did you have that?
I don't like visions.
Jade immediately turns around with this look and pointing at them. I knew you saw it! I know it! I know it! I'm not the only one! I'm not the only one! Why do you keep lying to me?
No. I mean, you know how it works with me and how it works with you. It's almost the same, but not quite. For Mordecai, I don't think he has that. So,
I hate visions.
this is different.
They
It
never
has
turn
to be
out good.
different.
Jade
Sometimes
is
they turn
inches
out good.
away from Mordecai's face. You see the maggots too, don't you? You see them?
Vision at the 20. That's always good.
No.
Out of the skin. Out of the streams, out of the veins, onto the floor, and then crawling in back through your feet, under the nails, lifting the nails, almost like trapdoors. You walk up trapdoors, that's what you are, you know it, you know it!
I don't see that, but I did see...
Don't lie to me!
I'm telling you the truth.
No, you see it, you just confessed, you saw it.
Mordecai, to you, especially having gone through a vision like this, you don't have to confer this to others, but this is definitely making you thirsty, or it's like making your throat itch, and it's really awkward because you want to scratch that itch, but you can't. Well, I guess you could if you really tried, but you can't reach your hand down your throat to scratch the itch. I'm not compelling you. You don't have a mechanic on you, but going through a vision like this does make your throat kind of itchy.
I do have a water skin full of blood. I take a sip from that.
Okay.
Just a sip.
And
Pinky
or
up.
Or is it
Ow.
like still liquid?
It's probably it's viscous, so it'd be kind of like chugging some maple syrup. Like you gotta have to like really work for it. Not the best. It kind of scratches the itch. Like you feel it, but it's suppressed. It's not an itch. It's just a little tingle now. As you kind of have to like gulp, as you see him do that, like you have to like swallow hard to get like the kind of the congealing blood down, but you get a little sip down, and there you go.
Okay, so that's really freaky. I mean,
All you
I'm
saw
used
was
to,
me pull a water skin out of it and take a sip.
I know it's full of blood.
Is there working? You don't know what this is? It's just
It's
blood.
just enough, yeah.
I wish Celine or even Norallie was here so we could find out if the vision was like a vampire curse thing or if it was like everybody gets that.
Well, then I reckon.
I don't like an itch.
I reckon then I'll let you think about what you want to tell the Avalanches, since we did hit 3 right now. We had this vision of things that are happening, and so we'll pick up here on the verge of the Avalanche house, and while you're out in this neighborhood, you might want to talk to Lycop's mom too. But
Yeah, we'll go look for Gintilly.
Okay. All right. Well, everyone, thank you for another week. I hope that you did enjoy it. And the story continues as things they keep happening around you for some reason. It's like destiny has tapped you to step up and do stuff in the world.
Yeah. It's almost like the whole story is written around us.
Yeah. How dumb is that? Who does that? Oh goodness! And also to Mr. Plunderloot and Darkwolf, as fickle gods, your appeals to bend reality in various ways have been heard, and either have been or will be implemented at the moments that you have indicated things to happen. So thank you very much for being a part of the stream in that way as well. Volvo applauds. So there you go, everyone. You all get some Volvo clapping. Perugia, I was fun. Well, I'm glad you had fun too, Perugia. You know, for those of you who do watch, you know, that's one of my biggest concerns is I want to make sure that for you as my players, you know, so Fluffy Sheep and Dark Wolf, Coffee Cat and Derek, and, you know, if the others were here too, I do want to make sure that I'm keeping you engaged and entertained, as you're my primary concern because you're my players. At the same time, I do hope that for those of you who stick around and you watch the game be played, that it's entertaining for you too, and that, you know, you can have it on in the background if you're doing something, or you watch with rapture at the screen, and that you're getting some fun out of the weekly storytelling we're doing too. It means a lot that you as my players are playing, and for those who stick around and are a part of the story that way too. It's really encouraging, and I appreciate your time in spending it with me here.
Well,
finding it interesting.
it was a good game. Oops, I knocked my wig on the floor.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. It's I'm very pleased with the game. You know, the curse that we're all dealing with is kind of a fun thing, because, you know, you get high enough level and even curses aren't much of a problem anymore. But you know, where we are now, there's nothing really we can do about it except try to explore it and find out how it all works. So that part is really kind of entertaining for me. But I also think the different characters with their own perspectives and everything, you know, we're not just finding white hats and black hats, right? Everybody has their own agenda, and I really appreciate that. So.
Yep, and now Darkwolf, you as Norallie, you will hopefully remain conscious for longer periods of time, and you've shown a little bit about who you are, you know, what you're doing, what's happened, especially in the greater world, as things are afoot, even in Flowerfield, and this happened, and you were drawn in. So I hope that you will integrate yourself in some appropriate fashion into the party, and we'll continue there. XCat, well, when this one wraps up, I will let you all know on Discord with kind of a casting call for those who want to participate in the next campaign. I just can't promise when that's going to be, because the important focus is that I want to do this one, even though it's kind of a prototype campaign. I want to make sure that I'm doing this one correctly, or as correctly as I can, especially as I'm getting to know Roll20 better and getting used to presenting online more than I am running at a tabletop, which may sound weird, but there is a difference between having everyone at the table and then running for them live and then running online, especially when you know, with the scene transitions, getting things set up. So for you as my players, I appreciate you putting up with episodes, kind of like what we were talking about earlier when I was using the whiteboard for combat and such, as I'm working out a couple bugs. And so I appreciate your patience with this as well, and trusting me to stick with it and to give you some kind of a hopefully good story that's not too obvious in one direction or another. So, but yeah, XCat, I'll let you and others know, and we'll go from there when the time is right. Just like what Tucker's talking about, and Jade was supporting. You know, the time will arrive when it does, or what? What's the quote of Gandalf? You know, wizards are never early nor late; they arrive always when they intend to. You all are a bunch of wizards.
No, I'm a sorcerer.
Magic users.
XCat, yeah, there is a bunch of stuff in the asset library. That's stuff that I still need to learn how to search and incorporate and go into. Although I do want to be careful, XCat, with like with what you're talking about is good on a strategic level or on a tactical level. But we had a prior to this game starting, I was making a session where I was just going to go through the tutorial of Roll20 in order to try and orient myself to everything the platform does, which is an awful lot of stuff. And that's good. This is an extremely flexible tool and can do a lot of things. And then once I got to about, step 10 of 11 billion, like my eyes were just rolling in the back of my head. And Derek actually stepped up unprompted and said, "Hey, let me show." I know that I'm abbreviating what you're talking about, Derek. I said, "Hey, let me show you something here," and he showed me how he ran his campaigns on Roll20, and it was especially it was your Wraith campaign, and it was backdrops, it was photos, it was about presentation and music and setting the scene, but letting the narrative carry a lot of the story, and not just have it be everything is tactical maps, which can be fine. And I'm not poo-pooing that, but with my style, and especially with me having blinded myself, saying, "Oh, there's all these options and toys and tools, and oh my gosh, I got googly eyes from everything." There was a very elegant idea that Derek put forward that resonated with how I like storytelling, and so that's what I've been presenting to try and set the mood and set the scene, and so for all of you, both in the audience, well, I guess over here, yeah, pointing in this direction, for the audience way over on the other side of the screen here, and then especially for those of you who are playing. I do listen to what you say, and I pay attention to it, and I try and implement it as soon as I can. I can't always do it immediately. But I listen, I learn, and I do try and pay attention, because I learn a lot from you. You all have different lives to live, and you do different things. You've been exposed to different things. You have different talents and certifications and diplomas and skills and whatever. And I try my best to learn from you all.
Threw a quick picture in Discord.
Oh, all right. We'll bring up Discord.
It's so cute. I can't.
Oh wow, yeah, that's. Here, I'll drag this over so you all in the not in the super secret rooms can see what Dark Wolf had made here. Yeah, because you wanted to get a sweater for your pet, right? Because it's kind of chilly. It has wings, but I mean, for intents and purposes, it's a snake. So it'll get a little.
Feathers can only be so warm.
It'll get a little lethargic if it gets too cold, right?
It's true.
Which, by the way,
that does the exact opposite effect as intended.
Norallie, you might want to make friends with Jade, because your snake is going to have to eat, and unless you're carrying around a bag of rats or a bag of mice, you might need to dip into Jade's emergency reserve of bugs and feed it some crickets or something.
Can I borrow some crickets?
Can I borrow? Are you going to give them back to Jade?
Yeah.
Well, Jade, I guess some spells need to use bat guano, so what's a little snake equivalent, right? Oh, gosh. Let's see. I think I missed a couple things because I was on a soapbox here, too.
I probably also need to head off to bed.
Yeah. This is all table talk, funsy. This is all bonus chat here. Well, all right. So Fluffy and XCat, I'm glad that you think I'm doing a good job, even though there's a lot of times where I'm not panicking on camera, but I'm like, oh, am I doing this efficiently? Are my descriptions okay? But that's something that you just carry. Main thing is the player audio is way quieter than mine. What I could probably do then,
That would be something you would adjust.
I can... What can I do? I can turn up my desktop audio volume and then turn down my microphone volume. So my voice will effectively be the same if this is coming across clearly, but it will give you all a louder voice to equate. So I guess that's just going to be something to play around with in the pregame next week.
It's always good to do kind of a sound test just to make sure that things do come across okay, as far as like between us as players, and then you can adjust it as you need to on the stream.
Yeah, and just give me whatever feedback you got there. So, all right, well, you know what? I think we're winding up the stream, so I'll close this down and I'll pop out a chat. If any of you want to linger in, I mean a voice chat. If any of you want to linger around in text chat on the stream, go ahead and do so, and then we can I can just go over some other things, have some other conversations too. So I'll pop out of here. Thank you again for another week, and I'll see you in future broadcasts.